Do you have a dream? Are you taking actions and living a life that's going to allow you to actually accomplish that dream? Well, good morning, everyone. I'm very excited to be here today to be talking to you about a super cool topic. We're going to be talking about dreams. That's one of my favorite topics because it can just go anywhere. So the big question today is, what's your dream? Do you have a dream? So that's what we're going to talk about. But before we get into that, I should introduce myself. My name is Jerry Ann Kelly, and I do what I love and love what I do. My focus is leadership development, which covers a lot of different areas of personal and professional growth. I really love to help companies achieve their goals, which can be done through the development of their people. And yes, helping your people get along better, helping them grow personally will help companies, nonprofits, all above businesses achieve their goals. I love adding value to others through coaching one-on-one and in groups. I also enjoy DISC reports, which is really just a personality report with a whole lot more information than you could ever imagine finding out about yourself. They're super popular right now because it's important to know yourself and know your strengths and know your limitations. It helps us to get along with others. And in a work environment or personal environment or on committees, it's very helpful to know yourself and know your limitations and even find out about your peers and what possibly makes them tick. But enough about me. Let's move on to this awesome topic. What is your dream? I'm really going to encourage you to think about that right now while you're listening to the session, and also consider whether you will achieve your dream in your lifetime. I know you can do it if you ask the right questions of yourself. So, what are the odds that you give yourself right now to achieve your dreams? I want you to actually physically write it down. Hopefully you have a pen and piece of paper in hand. Are the odds of achieving your dream 1 in 5 chances? 1 in 100? How can you tell whether your chances are good? How do you know? Well, that's partly what we're going to talk about today. You know, the opposite of having good chances at achieving your dream is your dream becoming exactly that, just a dream. So first, you need to ask yourself some difficult questions. In our session today, there isn't going to be enough time to cover everything about dreams, but I'm going to do what I can in the next 40 minutes or so, maybe 45. Today, we're going to just dip our toe into dream testing. We're going to cover two of the 10 testing questions. If I was going to cover all 10, I'd have to spend half a day with you, and that I would love to do. Our content today is based on a book called Put Your Dreams to the Test. It is written by Dr. John C Maxwell, whom I am honored to call my mentor and friend. If you're not sure who Dr. Maxwell is, he's a New York Times bestselling author. He's a coach. He's an international speaker. He sold like at least 2 million books. And I'm probably being conservative with that. He's internationally recognized. He's known as the guru of leadership. I promise you, if you Google John Maxwell, you're going to find him pop up in many, many searches. Side note for you, tomorrow is February the 20th, and that is National Leadership Day. National Leadership Day is a new national day. It was just created this year, and it was created in honor of John Maxwell. Not only is tomorrow National Leadership Day, it is also John's birthday, at which time he will be a very, very, very young 75 years old. So those of us that work with John and admire his work are very excited that a national day has been named after him. So kudos to John Maxwell. Let's start with a little bit of inspiration, a quote from John Maxwell himself. Dreams are valuable commodities. They propel us forward. They give us energy. They make us enthusiastic. Everyone ought to have a dream. But what if you're not sure whether you have a dream you actually want to pursue? Let's face it, many people were not encouraged to dream. And so they lose hope and they end up just setting that dream aside. So the big point right now in this presentation is, do you have a dream? And how are you working towards it? Are you working towards it, for that matter? John also said, a dream is an inspiring picture of the future that energizes your mind, your will, and your emotions. It empowers you in everything that you do every single day. Pretty awesome, huh? So let's take a look at the first topic that we're going to talk about today. It's the 5 common reasons people typically don't identify with their dreams. The first one is discouragement from dreaming by others. Okay? There are people in your life that may have discouraged you. They didn't build you up to be who you wanted to be. We like to call them dream crushers or idea killers. You probably know a few people like this in your life. And, I personally think the reason that they get like this is they don't have a dream of their own. So they've decided to crush everybody else's around us. It's really sad. And I really don't like being around those kinds of people. I'm going to tell you a little story that actually John tells in the book, Put Your Dreams to the Test. Scientists put 5 monkeys in a room. And in that room, there was a pole. And on top of the pole, there's a big, huge bushel of bananas. And of course, when the monkeys got in the room, the first monkey scurried up the pole. He was going to grab those bananas. He was so excited. And swish, came down some cold water, ice cold water, and splashed him and knocked him back down the pole. Oh, it was horrible. The second monkey, he says, well, I'm going to try it. That can't happen to me, right? My dream is those bananas. So he scurries up the pole, splash, comes out the water, jumps down off the pole, discouraged. Third monkey tries, up the pole, splash, down. You get the idea. Fourth monkey tries, he goes up the pole, splash, down. And fifth monkey does it too. So they're there and, they know better, right? They've been discouraged. Don't go for that dream banana. Then what happened was they took one monkey at a time out of the room. So they took a monkey out, put in a new monkey. And when the new monkey started to climb up the pole, the other monkeys didn't want him to get splashed. They were going to protect him because they knew better, right? So they went up and they grabbed him and they pulled him down gently. Then another monkey came in the room. They switched out another one, number 2. And that monkey went up the pole. All of his little friends came up and grabbed him gently and carried him down. Switched out the third monkey, same thing. The new monkey came in, tried to get the bananas. Fourth monkey and fifth monkey. Before you know it, all 5 monkeys that are in that room are new. But yet, none of them are going to go up that pole and get those bananas. And none of them have any idea really why. And none of them have ever been splashed by water. Perhaps this has happened to you in some way. Others dragging you down. Maybe because they were trying to protect you, like the monkeys were protecting the new ones. Or maybe they resented the fact that you had a dream, and so they kind of talked down. Those were dream killers. And maybe they didn't want you to improve and move up. Okay, so those things do happen. So the next item we're going to talk about, and the reasons that people don't identify their dreams, is disappointment. Disappointment is the gap between expectation and the reality of achieving your dream. So that risk of failure or actual failure is the price we pay for success, because we've got to try. And if it fails, you start to find yourself saying, I'll never do that again. So you have been disappointed, discouraged, and you're not going to try it again. It's okay to let go of the past disappointments, folks. I know it hurts and it has impacted us. but it's okay to let go of those things. Of course, we want to respond to hurts and difficult decisions or actions and learn from them. And that's a whole nother topic that I'd love to cover. That actually talks about the law of pain, which is a law that John Maxwell writes about in the 15 Irrefutable Laws of Growth. But we won't go there. Basically says, that you learn from your mistakes. So the third habit is settling for average. So that's another law I can cover right now. That's another in the 15 laws. It's the law of the rubber band. Some people are just okay with average, okay? They don't want to be stretched. Because the thing about a rubber band is if you're just holding it in your hand, it's just a circle, right? And it's not doing anything. But when you take it and you expand that rubber band, you're stretching it, you're changing it, it suddenly has a purpose. So we want to stretch. We want to get out of that comfort zone. But unfortunately, lots of people like the comfort zone. You know those people. They get up every day. They go to work 9 to 5. They collect their check. They come home. They do it again the next day and the next day. So think about that. Is that really where you want to be? If your dream is big enough, if it's one of those dreams, you're going to have to stretch yourself to grow. That's the only way you are going to get closer to achieving your dreams. I promise. I feel sorry for the folks that just get up and go to work every day. They're really missing out on being able to dream and take advantage of having those dreams. The fourth way that discourages people is folks that have a lack of confidence. Okay. Pursuing your dream does take confidence. It takes confidence to talk about it and even more to pursue it. Sometimes that confidence is what separates the people who pursue their dreams from those that don't. I've got another little quote here from Judith Bardwick about confidence. And she says, real confidence comes from knowing and accepting yourself, your strengths and your limitations, in contrast to depending on the affirmations of others from the outside. It's important to have self-confidence. It's important to know yourself. The last of the 5 reasons is lack of imagination. This is my favorite one because I'm very imaginative. I like to think that just like when we were all really young and we played with toys and made them do things that only our little brains could. So when we have a dream and we utilize that imagination, the thoughts, the possibilities, the visions, they're endless. Isn't that awesome? The imagination that you can have when you sit and you think about your dream, that is powerful stuff. Imagination is the soil that brings your dream to life. So that imagination is there. No matter what age you are or the condition, you still have untapped possibilities. If you're out there watching right now and you are 60 years old and you're ready right now to pursue your dream, go for it. You're going to do just fine. That's what's beautiful about that. And it's actually a really beautiful thing to find that, even if it happens after the fact. So a little story to give you an example of finding your dream later in life. Rodney Dangerfield. He was a flop when he was young as a comedian. He was not going to make it in the acting world. And so he quit. Now, why he quit, I don't know the details of all that. Maybe somebody discouraged him. He lost confidence. That's very probable in his line of work. But what he did do is he came back in his late 50s. And then he fulfilled his dream. And I think that's just awesome. So if you consider some of the reasons we just discussed, do you think any of those impact you? Could something have happened in your life that made you decide not to pursue your dream? If that's the case, that's okay. You can change and you can learn. That's the great thing about leadership and personal growth. They're learnable skills, 100% learnable skills. Let's consider some of the reasons we just discussed where you might struggle with your dream. I want you to think about what it will take to propel you forward to the next steps of making those dreams come true. That's why you're here today, right? That's why you're listening today or later, because something about the title, Put Your Dreams to the Test, made you want to do that. Put your dreams to the test. Let's move on to those tough questions I talked about. We need to ask ourselves about our dreams. Remember, I said there's actually 10 steps, and we're only going to talk about 2. Well, the 10 steps that are discussed in the book are also listed on the slide. So I want you to keep that in mind, that there are other steps to take. So we're going to start off with the very first one on there, and that's the ownership step. And the ownership step says you have to own your dream. That's simple. Okay. Are you living your dream or the dream of someone else? A good example of that, it's pretty common, where your mom or your dad has a dream for you, or they want you to stay in the family business. Maybe they want you to be a lawyer or a doctor, a police officer, whatever the family tradition of, other family members has been. That's what they want you to do. And you may have very much just said, okay. And there's lots of reasons why people just agree. They don't want to fight their family. They don't want to disappoint them. They don't want to hurt anybody's feelings. Or maybe they've just heard about it so much over and over and over again, every Christmas, Thanksgiving, every holiday. They're kind of brainwashed into thinking, yeah, that's my destiny. That's my dream. One of the really common ones I see a lot today is the stay-at-home mom. And we know how things have changed. And it's coming up, it's coming more popular now. And that could be because of COVID and teaching kids at homes and things. But imagine there's a mom and she's happily married with 3 kids. Did she do that? Did she decide to stay home and be a stay-at-home mom because of social pressures? Maybe she lives in a neighborhood where everybody on the street that she's met and gets to know while her kids are younger, they all stay home. So she felt that social pressure to be part of the group. So she stayed at home, or maybe her mom stayed home, or maybe both. And so she took the same path as her mother. It's important to make sure that you are owning your dream. That's the bottom line. It is the first step in fulfilling your dream. It's true, you could live someone else's dream, but you're really not going to be happy. I promise, promise, promise. Regrets will swarm around in your head and you will not sleep well for a negative reason. Or maybe you'll be like Rodney and you'll start your dream right now today, regardless of how old you are and regardless of how well you are. You can start your dream. We're going to get a little bit deeper into the ownership question. Let's move to the how to take ownership. And isn't that the best part? Learning how to get somewhere, right? So on this slide, this is talking about all the different things that you need to be thinking about, okay? And what you need to be self-talking yourself to. So when you're doubting yourself, these are some of the things that you need to focus on, bottom line. Very important slide. All right, number 1. You need to be willing to bet on yourself. And I'm not talking about, Vegas. When you own your dream, you will succeed. Even if nobody else, even if those dream crushers are around, they don't need to believe in you. You need to believe in you. But if you don't believe in yourself and own it, you're not going to succeed. So let me say that again. If you don't believe in yourself, but you say you own it, you're not going to succeed. They have to come hand in hand. You have to have the confidence in yourself that you're going to succeed. Remember, we talked about confidence or lack of confidence in an earlier slide. The second one, after ownership, after betting on yourself, I apologize. You will need to lead your life. Okay, listen, instead of accepting your life and letting it lead you. You will need to lead your life instead of accepting and letting it lead you. When you let your life lead you, you make random decisions that don't follow any common theme. This happens in the absence of a dream. When you lead your life, you make choices. We always have a choice on how we're going to react. We have a choice on our next steps in life. The choices you make today impact tomorrow. I know you guys know that. The choices you make today impact tomorrow. Make sure your choice points you in the direction of your dream. I think one of the greatest powers that we have are choices. And I believe very deeply about intentional decisions and intentional choices. Unfortunately, people do let their life lead them, and the circumstances around them make decisions. They just kind of follow the crowd. And so they're probably not making choices that are going to lead them towards their dream. So I want you to ask yourself, another one of these things to write down. Are you making intentional decisions and leading your life? Or is your life leading you? Number 3, and I said this earlier when I introduced myself, love number 3. You need to love what you do and do what you love. Here's the thing about successful people. They know their dream. Okay. They've acted on it and they love what they do. They got there. I suggest if you see someone you consider successful, ask them about their dreams and what it took to live their dream. I'm going to tell you a quick short story about myself because it took a long time for me to get to where I was going to love what I do. So when I was young, I pretty much knew that I loved people. I loved interacting. I loved asking questions and getting to know people. Well, my parents thought that I should become a lawyer like my sister, who was 8 years older than I was. So I went to college, and the first thing I did was start taking some law classes. It was just not for me. It was not for me. There was not enough socialization to do that. And I really wasn't leading or teaching anybody anything. And I knew I could add value as a lawyer, but it wasn't the kind of value that I was dreaming of. I wasn't clear on my dream, keep in mind, at this point. So I switched my major. And about half a semester, or one semester after that, I switched colleges for the first of 4 more times, mind you. Then I went into sports medicine because business wasn't going to cut it. And so by the time, and I think I left my degree kind of undeclared after that, like that's how I should have started. I was starting to figure out what was it that was going to make me tick? What was going to make me happy in life? So on the 5th and final college I went to, I decided to go with a degree in nursing because I could see a path that wasn't about being a nurse. Because bless all nurses, let me tell you, the care that you give patients. I wanted to become a nurse because I wanted to run a hospital, right? I knew it. I was going to run a hospital or be something way high up. Here's the thing about nursing and Jerry Ann. I hate needles. I can't stand blood. If somebody were to vomit, I'm probably going to vomit on them. No kidding. I'm not kidding. And I especially cannot stand toes. I mean, I can look at my own and all, but I'll tell you what, that just makes me gag. I can't sit next to people when I go to get a pedicure because I can see their toes. But anyway, while I was in clinicals, because you have to do all those things, you go to work, and actually work in the hospital. I was a creative young thing at the time. I actually paid a couple of my classmates to do those tasks that I couldn't do so I could get through clinicals. So we would time it. The patient would get what they needed. I promise. Okay. So my friend would go in and give that shot or start that IV or, wash a disgusting diabetic foot or whatever they were doing. And then we would just waltz out, or I would waltz out the room, and the clinical instructor would be there. And I'd say, "Oh, you missed it. The patient was anxious. and somehow I managed to go through clinicals, never giving a shot. So when I did start to do nursing, I was lucky enough to find hospice. And hospice is very much a connecting side of nursing. And that's when it struck me. I love connecting with people. I love adding value to them, helping them deal with grief. And I was getting there. I was finding that dream, and I wasn't afraid to live it, but I just didn't know how to get there. So I went from there, almost forgot, and started my own hospice program. And then from there, opened other businesses surrounding the hospice program, went up through management, got up to the C level in the hospital, just like I had planned. And then I went into consulting. And when I went into consulting, it was a way to even do more leadership exercise, helping other people lead others. And I was there while I was still there. My dream became super clear in about 2015, maybe 2014. And while I was trying to figure out how to get that path, I ran into the John Maxwell team, which I'm a part of now. So I had some more time that I wanted to be in corporate America, but I knew this is what I'm going to do. And then things just happened. I had so much fun adding value to my employees, building teams, all that good stuff. My dream was there. But then we got bought by a big company. The big man came in and they had a corporate department, and they didn't need me to do my own team building or team building for other departments in the company. Long story short, that was supposed to be a short story, remember? That's how I get here today. So I left corporate America and consulting after almost 30 years to pursue my dream of love what I'm doing and do what I love. So the big man, really benefited me by kind of pushing me for not letting me do any more training, speaking, and coaching. And I'm back where I want to be. So I hope I'm adding some value with that story, because I do love what I do and do what I love. And I should probably add, I actually maybe much later in life than even Rodney Dangerfield. So it's okay, you can do it. Next, don't compare yourself or your dream to others. See, when you compare yourself with someone that's superior, or you think is superior, even if you just think they are, you're going to feel inferior. When you compare yourself with those inferior, you're going to falsely feel superior. There's just no good thing about comparison. So when you stop comparing yourself to others, you're going to feel empowered. I'm going to say that last part again. When you stop comparing yourself to others, you will feel empowered. All right. Success, is doing the best you can with what you have. So don't look to somebody else to compare. Be successful with what you have, and don't yearn for what somebody else has. The last point on this slide is you must believe your vision for the future, even when others don't understand it or support it. You're not here by accident. You're here for a reason. See, this reminds me of another story. This one will be quicker. And this is about Les Brown. If you're familiar with Les Brown's story, you might realize that he grew up in what he would call the slums. And he writes about it in one of his books. He talks about it in all of them, I'm pretty sure, but he has a book called Live Your Dream and Dreams. And I encourage you to read it. It's a great story, because I can find in that story all 5 of these things on the slide right now. So it just inspires me to know that. Now, he achieved his dream earlier than later in life, okay? So the last 5, the last 5 steps, and I'm just looking at myself, he bet on himself over and over again. He knew he was going to beat the odds, I'm telling you. Even when the teacher at school and his community in general wrote him off, they said that he just was stupid. They called him dumb, and they put him in a classroom with exceptional children. that needed extra help. Thing is, he didn't need extra help. He made plans and led his life. He did. Because if he hadn't done that, if he hadn't made decisions, intentional decisions, then he probably at this point would either be in prison or even dead by now. Now, that's something he said in the book. I know for sure he does love what he does, and he loves to speak. And if you've ever listened to him, I mean, even if he's on a webcast like this, you know, he's just especially there. He's connected to everyone, and he really reaches out, especially to youth, because, you know, so much of his younger life, everything was stacked up against him. He eventually went into politics to wrap that story up, and very much started living his dream. And he's a great example of a politician that's really looking out for people in the public and doing things that really were never done from him. Now, I will say along the way, not everybody was against him. He had an athletic coach and another mentor in his life that came and went through his life, and people were helped him make good choices and encouraged him. Said, you can do this. And when he was down, he had somebody to go to. So keep in mind, even if your dream isn't supported by others, so if you have people around you, they're not supporting it, you still need to own it. You don't know when you may need to adjust it, so it needs to be owned by you. Okay, so adjusting your dream is okay. If you're going along the way and it's just really not happening, I mean, it took me 5 colleges and 6.5 years of school to really figure that out, and then you know, another path the other way. So it's okay, you can adjust. When you take ownership of your dream and you commit to it, what's your level of commitment? Okay, so, well, let's talk about this. If you already have a dream like right now, and you wrote it down much earlier, many slides ago, what's your level of commitment to that dream? 1 being nice to have, and 10 being, I think about it all the time. I'm always making plans. I'm figuring out my next step. Write that down in front of you right now, if you don't mind. 1 to 10. Yeah, take it or leave it. 10, not living without. Can't wait to get there. If you wrote down less than 8, you need to decide if that dream is real. Another thought, if you're unsure of your dream, what would you be doing if you couldn't fail? All right. So are you not pursuing your dream from fear of failure? What I would encourage you to do if you think that's the case, I encourage you to journal about your dreams. Talk to other people. Meditate on it if that's your thing to do. But just remember, it's your dream and you own it. So we just talked about owning your dream, another component of testing your dream of the 10 that we talked about. The next one we're going to do is the cost question. And of course, I'm not talking about money again. Like I wasn't talking about Vegas. This is not dollars and cents. The question is really, are you willing to pay the price for your dream? You know, dreams in general are personal, and many people avoid that question. They don't really like to talk about it, and they avoid the cost. And then they end up inadvertently avoiding their dream because they won't look at the cost question. This is so important. So what about you? Does this sound familiar to you? Think about your life right now. In the past, when have you made a sacrifice for something? You know, a true sacrifice. It could be a big one or a little one. I'm talking the guys wanted you to go play poker and your girlfriend had plans to go to the movies. So you sacrifice the guys and the poker night and you go to the movies with your girlfriend. Now that's a little one, but you know what I'm talking about. Usually those decisions, those sacrifices turn into a positive lesson. Like that girlfriend turns into a fiance, and now you've been married and you've got, 3 or 4 wonderful children, and you're just happy as can be. That one sacrifice showed her that you were willing to pay the cost to keep her attention. It's very probable that you've made these sacrifices and compromises along your journey to your dream. Okay, you will make sacrifices along your journey. But the question is, anyway, are you willing to pay that price for your dream? So we're going to dig a little bit deeper into the cost question. I have 5 points for you to consider regarding the cost question. First, the dream itself may be free, but the journey isn't. It's not, I promise. At some point, you have to make a transition from believer of the dream to buyer of the dream. No dream comes true without somebody paying for it. And remember, I'm not talking about money. The dream is free, but the journey will not be. The next point on the slide. The price will need to be paid sooner than you think. So John says this in relationship to that. Dream believers are in abundance. Well, a lot of us are dream believers, but dream buyers are kind of rare to find. Just count on paying sooner than expected. And also, I might add that the price is going to be higher than you expected. You've got this plan for this dream, and you've even asked yourself all 10 questions at this point. You've got a great journey plan. You've got people on your side. You're ready to go. And you're going to have bumps on the road, right? You're going to have sacrifice something. That sacrifice will come up quick, and it'll be bigger than you ever thought. So while you're on that journey to that dream destination, be prepared for that. I've talked to a lot of leaders, and they always say, achieving their dreams was not straight uphill. It curved all over the place. It went backwards. A good saying that describes this process is, and I know everybody's heard it, you have to give up to go up. That's an awesome one to write. How about put that on a sticky note? Put it on your computer screen, put it on your car dash. Remember, you have to give up to go up. Since I've said a couple of times, we aren't talking about dollars. What am I talking about? You probably figured it out, but I mean, it could be your family. It could be friends, homes, activities, travel, going out 3 nights a week, having those expensive nights. When I was busy climbing the corporate ladder, I usually missed the bedtime with my kids, my girls, when they were little, because I stayed at work so long, because I thought working harder and longer would help me climb that ladder. And unfortunately, that's not time I can give back. One of my other mentors, Valerie Burton, an international author and speaker, also, and coach, she has a book called It's About Time, The Art of Choosing Meaningful Over Urgent. And she says something to this effect. Time is valuable because unlike money, you can't replace it. It's not like money where we can go down and get a loan and get us some time like we get money. Nobody's going to give it out. So you got to think hard about what you possibly are giving up to get your dream. Let's move to dealing with those that think they know what's best for you, but they really have no idea who you really are inside or anything about your dream, but they know what's best. Those are the ones that love you, right? You probably have those in your life, and they do care about you. Those are the people that matter to you, right? And you're going to have to ignore them. That's the bottom line. You are going to have to ignore them. Know they love you and let them know you love them. But you're going to have to ignore them when it comes time to taking that journey to your dream. Next, you need to pay the price of overcoming your fears. Now, we touched on this earlier. The fear of failure is a big one. Our dreams tend to be, and they should be, outside of our comfort zone. I mean, really, if they were inside our comfort zone, how hard would they be to achieve? Wouldn't be a dream. It would just be today. You can just do it. So you're going to have to get out of your comfort zone, and you're going to have to be comfortable with that. Just like that rubber band when it gets stretched. Stretch out of your comfort zone. That's what I think. And remember, if you don't stretch, you won't grow. Growing, learning, mistakes, setbacks, all take you from where you are now to where you really want to be. Let me say that again. Growing, learning, making mistakes, setbacks, all of that is part of getting from where you are now to where you want to be. Last piece on this is the price of hard work. When it comes to, to success, there are no escalators. There's no easy ride. You must work hard. After all, everything worthwhile is uphill. I love that quote. I have that sticky like multiple places. Climb that hill. You can do it because it's worth it. Now I want to ask you, so what is this worth to you? What if the cost requires you to sacrifice some of the most important things to you? Your values, your family, your integrity. Okay. Those are things that might not be worth it. You have to really evaluate those things and make sure if you have to sacrifice something, that it's truly, truly worth it. And if it's not worth it, this is when you can dream a new dream. And that new dream, it's not going to cause you to compromise. You need to figure out if your dream is worth it. You need to answer that cost question. And if you don't want to give up things special to you, like your integrity, dream a new dream or modify it. Don't underestimate. Please don't underestimate what a dream can cost. I would encourage you to seek out someone that you know, maybe in the area of that you know, the expertise, the field of experience, and ask them about dreams and how they got where they are. And could they give you some information and advice about what it takes to achieve success in that particular field? I mean, that's finding a mentor, like Les Brown found that coach to help him get to where he wanted to be. How much am I willing to pay for my dream? That's the question you have to answer. And what am I not willing to pay for? Your integrity, your values, those things we just talked about. Keep in mind, some prices are way too high and they're not worth it. Valerie Burton, in the same book I mentioned earlier about, has a friend in there that actually does give up. That's a great long story, which we don't have time for it right now, but she gives up a great career and actually being on TV and being a famous reporter because she realized as her husband was getting higher up in his job, and she was too, the kids weren't getting the parenting that they really dreamt of doing. And that dream of being at home with their kids more often than not was going to outweigh any other dream that she might have in her career. At the end of the day, she just wasn't willing to pay any amount of money or status to give up that time with her family. It would have been too much. I'm going to make a big point here, okay? Don't leave your dreams up to chance. It's one thing to have a dream, but it's entirely another to achieve it. And if you leave your dreams to chance, if you let life lead you, as we talked about earlier, I'm afraid you're not going to get there. The 10 powerful questions in the book, Put Your Dreams to the Test, will increase your odds, though, of your dream becoming a reality and not just a dream. Because when you answer those questions in the book, it'll make you search your soul and make sure it's real. But you've got to fully engage in that process and answer all of those questions. A common question that I get, how long is it going to take for me to achieve my dreams? that depends on you. It very much depends on the amount of time that you have, okay? How self-aware you are, how honest you are about your strengths and limitations. You've got to know yourself to grow yourself. Your history, how much time and energy you've already put into it. You could be on that path already, and that can give you a little head start. I honestly believe that your dream is worth it. And if you haven't found one yet, you've been thinking about it during this presentation, you're going to spend some soulful time thinking, some quiet time. And I think you'll really, really appreciate it. The last slide says, dare to dream, prepare the dream, wear the dream, repair it. Maybe you got to that place and it's not going where you really want to go, or share it. I want to thank you for allowing me into your life this morning. It's been an honor and pleasure living my dream of adding value to others with you. I hope you've had some value added to you today, more than some. And you can take your dream and run with it now that you're here. Again, my name is Jerry Ann Kelly, and I love to train and speak and coach on personal and professional growth. I love what I do, and I do what I love. I'm going to leave my contact information up for a minute before I close the webinar, so you can write that down if you have any questions. You can also scan the QR code to add me to your contacts. I hope you have a blessed and wonderful afternoon. Bye for now.